Good evening, man. Thank y'all for tuning in to the Sunday episodes of Crawford Chronicles. I'm one of your hosts, PK. And as always, we have Homer Chris and Sweet Bee Bones Bryles. Fellas, how was your weekend, man? 4 days out from opening day.
Yeah, man, it's pretty exciting. The weekend was pretty busy. We had a lot of League City Little League to do. Some fantastic, some not so much. But hey, it is what it is. But hey, I'm super excited because this will be the last episode that we give while we are still technically in spring training. So the next one that we put out on Thursday will be officially opening day. It is finally come. And outside of that, I'm super excited. Browse, how was your weekend going?
Good, man. Same as you. Obviously, we're on the same League City Little League team. So, coaching the kids was fun this weekend, at least for one of those games. But
Yeah.
the second one, not so much. Anyway, more into the Astros, though. Hey, we're at the end of spring training. It's looking fantastic, man. We're seeing some of these guys that are going in as starters, getting ramped up, getting going, and they're going to be coming back here to play the Space Cowboys for a couple games. And then we got opening day, man. Opening day is Wednesday for the whole league. Then Thursday, Wednesday, don't forget though, is the Yankees.
Oh, yeah, MLB. Nobody cares about that.
Then Thursday is for the Astros. So I'm looking forward to that. Hoping to go to the game. And that's it, man. PK, how was your weekend, buddy?
It was good. It was good. We had a volleyball tournament on Saturday. Did not go as planned. But we finished sixth in this tournament, so it was good. And then today, man, I'm uneventful.
I was gonna say, hey, we feel your pain.
Yeah,
we feel your pain.
It's like I'm just watching my kid play and enjoying that. But yeah, it was finished sixth. So it was a 1-2 record for the day. But hey, on to the next one. So, but yeah, dude, I'm super pumped, man. We were just talking offline about we were trying to figure out what we were gonna do for Thursday. Usually in the two seasons before. The two opening days before with this podcast, we've taken a day off. We've gone and played golf, and then we've attempted to come back and do a live, broadcast during the game. So this year, I don't think we're going to get the golf. And I don't think we actually never got the golf in the last 2 years for whatever reason, except for the fact that last season I can blame it on Chris because he bailed and went to opening day, which I can't fault him too much for it. But yeah, we got something coming up for Thursday, so I think we're going to end up going twice on Thursday, a little bit during the game, and then our normal podcast on Thursday night. But I'm so ready. Grapefruit season wrapped up today. Yeah, today. Tomorrow and Tuesday? I think we definitely have the Space City Cowboy game at Daikin. Imai is going to be pitching tomorrow, so that kind of lines up with where he's going to be in this rotation come this weekend. So if you want to do math, probably going to go on Saturday. Right. But we're going to get into all that. We went ahead and, predicted our rosters to the guys that's going to make the opening day. And then we'll get into some predictions, man. We'll get into predictions. The over-under for the Astros win total is 86.5 right now. So we'll see. We'll see what we all decide, how close we are, and we'll go from there. So who is going to go first to show their prediction for opening day roster?
All right. Well, before we get into it, I just want to say that outside, I've really tried to not pay attention to Astros news the last couple of days. When I came up with my roster, I mean, I did. Unfortunately, I was able to find out that I believe they informed Taylor Trammell he's going to start the season in AAA. So all three of us had to pivot before people were like, "Oh, you guys are so dumb." They already told you. So, like I said, we may have some names on here that maybe they've put out in the last hour, the last day or so that they got sent down. We have tried to not pay attention to any of that so that we can come up with our predictions without it being affected by what the Astros kind of really did. So you know what? I will, take the ring to Mount Doom. I will go ahead and go first. So here is what I have for my opening day roster. What I noticed is that I think pretty much everyone's in agreements. I know they're going to go 6-man rotation, but I just did 5. So I've got Brown, Burrows, Imai, Javier, LMJ. And of course, in my bullpen, I've got Arrighetti, Abreu, King, Okert, Bluebaugh, Tang, and I have Munoz, just mainly because he has to be on the 40-man, has to be on the active roster. And I think they're probably going to give him a little bit more of a look to see how he does before they just cut ties with him. My infield, I know I have Pena in there. I haven't really heard anything yet that he's not going to be available opening day, but I'm sure he'll probably start on the IL. So my infield's going to be Diaz, Walker, Altuve, Correa, Paredes, Whitcomb, and Vasquez. And then, of course, my big, I guess you could say shocker, is I have Matthews making the outfield out, out of spring. I think he has shown more than what I've seen out of Zach Cole. So, of course, I mean, obviously, Jordan's going to make the team. Myers going to make the team. I think we all agree on Smith and Loperfido. But I think Matthews is going to be that guy. The only way I don't see him making it is if they decide to go with Zach Cole because it's another lefty that they'll have off the bench. And, of course, his speed. So, but Matthews got pretty good speed. So, before we break into the others, Browse, PK, what do you think?
I'm actually surprised you don't have Kevin on there. I'm gonna be 100%.
Listen, man, I thought about it, and I mean, but I try to be pretty fair down the line. Like he's only played in like 4 or 5 games. Yeah, I try to be every now and then, but he's only really played in 4 or 5 games. I mean, he has contributed, but I just feel like I would think that he would need to show a little bit more consistency with the plate appearances and down in AAA. So I'm going to put my money on he's going to start the season down in AAA. So that is my roster. What do you think, Browse?
I like it, but I don't want to, give away exactly what I got going on because mine's a little bit different than yours. Cool. It's not that far off. Don't get me wrong. And I like where you're going with Matthews. I think he had a great spring training, and I really see him in the future coming up. But I have him as a first call up. That's what I'm going to say.
So with the Matthews, I mean, I noticed on there that you don't have Allen, right? Nick Allen. And so with you having Matthews up there, and we saw that he started in center field for a few games over the season. We know that he can play the infield. So you've got a higher ceiling utility guy in place of Nick Allen, right? So I like it. A little bit different, right? Than I think what we're going to see going here in a minute. But the consistent at bats for Matthews is something that kind of concerns me, right? Just overall, not even your roster, just overall, right? I mean, and the same with the fourth outfielder on me and Bryle's roster, I'm assuming as well, right? It's those consistent at bats. But for Matthews, he had a really good spring. I mean, hell, Taylor Trammell had a really good spring. Like I was actually pretty shocked.
Tremendous spring. That
Trammell got sent down, right? So that's a sign that it's probably really going to end up between Cole and Matthews. I would say, right, for that outfield position. But like you said earlier, we all had Trammell in here because he had a really good spring, right? That's another lefty, right, off the bench, and he's got some speed too. So my only concern with Matthews being up first or being right out of the gate is the lack of ABs. But we also know how Espada is constantly changing his lineup, right? And so I mean he's going to get it, but I think for Matthews, probably having more consistent ABs down in Sugarland is probably the way he should go. So
that's fair. And no, I mean you make a really good point. I mean, and I think the thing with Trammell, it has to do with something. I think if he would have made the team out of spring, I think the way his service time is, if he would have made the team out of spring, I think he would have been out of options. So I think that's why they bumped him down to AAA, because I think if they call him up, he'll have options. I don't know. It's way above my pay grade. I agree. I think he was originally on my outfielders list until I found out that he was sent down. So you raised a good concern about Bryce Matthews. How are they going to find at bats for him if he does make it? I mean, same thing with Loperfido. Same thing with if it is Zach Cole. I mean, Loperfido completely lit up spring training. So I don't know. Let's not get into that. Let's take a look at you guys' lineups, and then we'll talk about it then. So who wants to go next?
I'll take it.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Browse.
All right, Browse. Here we go. Here is Browse's this is his roster that he's projected for 2026 opening day.
All right, so guys, mine's a little bit different, obviously. The starting rotation isn't that much different. The only thing is I've got, Brown, Burrows, Amai, Javier, and LMJ. I've got Burrows there at the number 2. That guy has absolutely shown out in spring. I don't see any reason why he is not our number 2, other than the fact that, we need to absolutely take care of this guy because we want him here, not just this season, but next season. The other thing I will say, the biggest surprise for me out of the starting rotation was LMJ. LMJ absolutely killed it. And I was shocked to see what he has done in spring training compared to what he did in the 2025 season. So then we go into the bullpen. So you got Arrighetti. That's your guy that's going to be your probably 6th starter when called upon. I don't see any reason why he's not. And I think that he's going to be in there. Obviously, Abreu, King, Okert. I think Bluebaugh is going to be your setup guy. And then you got Tang and Weiss. Both those guys have had solid springs. You can't complain about that. Let's go back over to the infield now. So this one's pretty simple. I mean, Diaz, Walker, Altuve, Pena, Correa, Paredes, Vasquez. The one that I have different is Whitcomb. I do think Whitcomb is the guy as opposed to Matthews. The reason I say that is I looked up his spring numbers, and his spring numbers weren't exactly like jumping out at me. Then I looked at his World Baseball Classic numbers, and I'm like, okay, this dude deserves a shot. It's like we called him up in the middle of the season when we really needed him due to injury, but he has absolutely performed this spring, the World Baseball Classic, and looked phenomenal. So that's the one I'm going to want to talk about here in a minute. And then for outfielders, obviously we got Alvarez, Myers, Smith, Loperfido hitting a 322 coming out of spring, has looked absolutely phenomenal. And then the utility guy that I have, because he can play outfield, he can play third, he can play second, and he can play a little bit short, is your man, Cavan Biggio. And the reason I'm picking him over Nick Allen is because he's got the experience. At this point, I know it sounds crazy, he's a veteran. So he is a veteran in Major League Baseball. And if you've got a coin flip, I'm going with Cavan Biggio over Nick Allen or any other utility guy that we're actually thinking about. So anyway, that's my lineup. Boys, what do you think?
Honestly, I like it. I was big on Shea Whitcomb as far as what he's done this spring training. As much as I love seeing Biggio on there, again, he gives you another lefty bat. He's a guy that plays first, second, third, in both corner outfield spots. I mean, he can work a count. I mean, the biggest question with Biggio, and this is coming from me of all people, is that can he consistently get hits and get on base? I mean, we've seen the numbers he's put up, as far as with the 7 or 8 teams he's played with so far. I would love it. Again, man, like for him to come home and basically turn his career around. And I'm not saying that has to be 45 home runs, but if he can come here, hit 250, basically be that super utility guy that Marwin Gonzalez was, that Mauricio Dubon was. I mean, that would be a home run for not just for him, but for this franchise. I mean, so
agreed.
I still think him making it out of camp is a little bit jumping the gun. I mean, who knows at this point? Who knows? PK, what you got?
Yeah, I mean, look, I have it written down. The Ryan Weiss, I kind of like that in the bullpen. I didn't see much of him over the spring, right? I have pitching up here somewhere, but it looks like the blue ball, man. For both of you guys, we need to talk about with Chris, right? Is like I always talked about what we've talked about over the break, basically what that kid did at the end of the season, right? Where you can depend on him for the long relief, right? And I know that he is capable, obviously, of being that long relief guy. But it's like, do we want him to sit out in the bullpen? And it's going to fall in line with whenever you see my prediction, like all this stuff, right? It's like, do we want him sitting out in the pen, not, getting the game action? Although we do know that he can come in and go 4 innings out of the pen, right, and handle his own. I mean, throw freaking gas. Biggio, I think the one thing besides the fact that he's a left-handed hitter, he can play multiple positions, right, is the few times I did get to see him in spring, he seemed to be working pretty good counts, right? His play discipline seemed to be there, be there. We all know what this team struggled with last season, right? Now we have a new hitting regime. They led, or if they didn't lead, they were at the top of a spring training for the amount of walks they were getting. I mean, hell, they got 11 walks in the first game of the season. We talked about that. So if you have a guy, it's a left-handed bat that can play multiple positions, and if he can get on base, right? I mean, that's a pretty good spot to be in. Now, look, full disclosure, I didn't have him on there on mine, right? But I do like the Biggio move, even though I give Chris a bunch of crap for even consistently saying we need to sign Biggio. But from just the perspective of multiple positions, infield and outfield, and like I said, the few times I watched him, he has pretty good play discipline. It's the lack of hitting for consistency is the problem for Kevin, which is why he's been on so many different teams. So overall, though, I like it.
Yeah. One last thing, I will say that I really like the idea of Blue Ball as a setup man, and here's why. This is Abreu's last year of his contract. I mean, and he's going to be drawing a pretty penny this coming up off season. Now, again, I don't want to talk about. I mean, we're not even an opening day yet. But what I'm saying is that now that you have Abreu probably sliding into the closer role with Hader being hurt, this could be a chance for you to put Blue Ball at the setup role to kind of see what you have in him. And if he excels, I mean, then if you were to not bring back Abreu next year, because I'm sure he's going to want anywhere from 15 to 18 million next year per year, then it may that departure may not be as painful as it could be. So I'm good with that too.
And Chris, you absolutely nailed it. That's why I put him on my roster right there. I'm thinking right now he could be the setup guy for Abreu. He's going to be very cheap. And after Hader comes back, he can be your 7th inning guy. And then he's going to be able to sit there. He's going to be able to learn. He's going to be able to do everything. So the fact that he's in the bullpen, I'm really not that worried with him, not getting the, extra innings that he necessarily needs. I know that he originally, came up as a starter through the minors, but I mean, this guy is absolute gold when it comes to being in the bullpen. So if he can come in, be the setup guy for now, Hader comes back, he goes into a 7th inning role, stays with the team and keeps doing that, we've got a very, very lethal bullpen at the back 3. I mean, if we've got a lead going into the 6th inning, good luck everybody else, because guess what? We got Blue Ball, Abreu, and Hader. And I'm telling you, there is not one team in Major League Baseball that I would be afraid of, including the $2.5 billion Dodgers. So good luck with that.
All right, PK, are you ready to show the world your opening day predictions? After you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, here we go. Here's PK's 2026 Astros opening day prediction.
All right, so yeah, look, we're all in agreement on the starting rotation with Brown, Burrows, Imai, Javier, LMJ. I think Bryles talked about it earlier. LMJ, man, has really come through on this spring training, and he's in the contract year. He's kind of looking for a potential maybe one last little contract. Depending on how he does. So that's why I went with LMJ. Arrighetti, Abreu, King, Okert. Rodri Munoz was the same reason that Moreno did, because he's the Rule 5 draft pick, so he has to stay on the 40-man. And then Tang and Roa. Christian Roa came in with zero expectations, right? Just a spring training invite. And all he's done is pitched 9 2/3 innings, and he's got a .93 ERA, right? Then he pitched in, I just had it here. Pitched in 9 games this spring. So pretty impressed with what he, with what he did. And then Tang that we got from the Giants. I mean, Tang was pretty good. So, with Sousa on the IL they're not even evaluating that guy until he even feels less pain in his shoulder. So, that's not really a good sign of how long he's going to be out. And then with Hader, right? So I do have Abreu as our closer. We all know that, right? And I like Brian King. as our setup man. Now the blue ball for you guys is when I sit back and I think about it, like that's a pretty good spot. Like I don't mind the blue ball in that setup role. But I went ahead and went with Brian King here. So infield, usual suspects. I went with Nick Allen on this, and here's why I went with Nick Allen is because you're not expecting him to do anything offensively, right? He is the glove. He's the utility guy. And so your need for him to get consistent at bats and starting games is not as imperative as it is for me if you have a Shea Whitcomb in there as your utility guy. Braz, you talked about how fantastic his World Baseball Classic was, right? Like he was roping the ball during the WBC, right? And so you've got a guy that's swinging pretty good in Whitcomb, and then he comes up, let's just say he comes up and he's sitting, right? So you're killing the momentum that the kid has. And it could be the same. You could say the same for Bryce Matthews, the same for Zach Cole, whoever it is, right? I mean, there's not enough at bats to go around. So I went with Allen purely on the position that, like, he's not coming in here hot. He's here defensively, that he's the utility guy. So like he can play a couple of different positions, and that's one less lineup or at bat that Espada needs to make. And then we have Christian Vasquez as my backup catcher. So you have Alvarez, Myers, Smith, Loperfido, and Cole. Look, Cole did not have a really good spring. I mean, he went 182, right, or 189, I think it was. Loperfido was ripping the cover off the ball. We know that Loperfido's a lefty, Cole's a lefty, and so what I did with Cole, because I was going back and forth with I was kind of the same boat as Chris, really, with Matthews, right? Because of the potential to play center field, also middle infielder, right? And I know that both guys are pretty quick, but Cole's the lefty, another lefty off the bench. You know what I'm saying? So I went straight lefty off the bench. You have two lefties in Loperfido and Cole, three obviously with Alvarez, but yeah, that's what I went with, man. I think Cole might be. I don't want to judge his spring training, as like a disappointment. I mean, it was, but at the same time, you can't expect this kid to replicate what he did in the last 13 games of the season last year, right? I mean, like not right into spring training. So I'm pretty confident with my roster. I'm curious to see what you guys think. The Christian Roa one, like that was a tough one. I was telling Chris earlier, like I was kind of going back and forth because like that was something that was not expected, and he came in and for him, right, the 9 innings, 9 2/3 of an inning, he had 0.93 ERA. Like, especially with the Sousa and Hader being out, like I think he'd be a pretty good addition right off the jump.
No, I mean, like I honestly looking at everybody's all three of our rosters. I mean, I think I'd be happy with any variation of them. I mean, I think you're 100% right. Christian Roa came in the spring, and he came ready to rock and roll. He had a fantastic spring. However, I just don't see how, if it's down to Christian Roa or AJ Blueball, he's going to beat out Blue Ball for that final spot in the bullpen. I mean, you had Blue Ball come up. He did what he did towards the end of the season, and really solidified. I mean, the kid, I think he finished with a sub-2 ERA to end the season last year. So, I mean, again, there is nobody on anybody's roster that I could see here and look at and say, you know what, I just can't see why you put this guy in here, right? I do think that Zach Cole, from what I've seen, I know they've pushed the crap out of him pretty much in the offseason. I just feel like he needs more bats down in Sugarland. I just feel like that's just kind of where I'm at. I mean, like for him, and it's going to be basically all three of us said the same thing. For these younger kids, where are they going to find consistent at bats, right? I mean, Myers is going to be the everyday center fielder. It's going to be tough to see. I mean, I would assume Cam Smith's going to be your everyday right fielder. I mean, so you're going to and from what I've seen in spring training, Loperfido has given you zero reason to not give him left field and say, hey, run with it. Left field's yours. So where are these guys, whether it's Matthews, whether it's Whitcomb, whether it's Zach Cole, how are these guys going to get consistent at bats? And if they're getting at bats once every 4 games, then they might as well hit every day down in Sugarland, which is why I kind of like your thinking, PK, with putting Nick Allen as the utility guy, because he's not here to hit 350. He's here to be a Gold Glove defensive super utility guy. So that makes a lot more sense now that I've kind of heard your reasoning behind it. I don't know, Bros. What do you think?
Yeah, I thought it was very interesting that, obviously before we came on here, we did not compare rosters and how we had those little bit of differences on there. But yeah, it's like I feel like that last spot, like we were talking about the Whitcomb, the Cole, the Matthews, like any one of those three guys could definitely make it. The only reason I would knock Zach Cole, just like Chris was saying, though, is that he did have a pretty poor spring, and two, we brought him up basically from the Corpus Christi Hooks, if I remember correctly. Did he have any ABs in Sugarland at all before we brought him up?
Man, I think he only played in like 12 games or something like that.
Yeah,
he didn't have a lot.
Yeah, it was very limited. So I think that he would benefit more from being down just a little bit. And don't get me wrong, we got into spring, PK, I would have completely agreed with you. I would have said, hey, man, Cole's our, don't even worry about it. He's our left fielder. We're not even going to talk about anything else. And that's the guy that we're going to have. He's got all five tools, man. He's got speed. He's got hitting. He can do all the things that we need him to do. But I do definitely think he would benefit from some triple ABs. And he's probably going to be, if we need an outfielder, the first guy that comes up. The only thing that I don't like is Roddery Munoz, excuse me. Munoz is, I know he's the Rule 5 draft guy. I know we've got to keep him on the roster to keep him. But every time I saw the guy, and I don't care what his stats look like, every time I saw him, he does not look like he is ready for the major leagues by any means. I think he needs to get a little bit more as far as reps are concerned in the minor leagues. And I know that if we don't keep him, he's going to go back to the Cardinals. So be it. I mean, it's not like we're losing a whole bunch of stuff on him. We're losing absolutely nothing. But at the same time, that is my one, I guess, sticking point, if you want to say that. But other than that, man, I thought your roster was fantastic. It's, all of us, like I said, are pretty close to the same. Those are the only two things that I thought. And then I do like what you said about Nick Allen. He's a great defensive player. The only reason I picked Biggio over Allen is that, push comes to shove, we can put Biggio in the outfield. And I don't think Allen has that much experience, if any, in the major leagues going into the outfield. So that was the one step that I took that made me pick Biggio as a, veteran over Nick Allen, who's a little bit younger, but probably better defensively.
Yeah, we were used to Dubon playing every freaking position for this team, right? And so to go with the utility player in Allen, the lack of needing at bats for him, for me, superseded the fact that he only really plays the middle infield, right, and not really the outfield like super utility Dubon. But your reasoning for Biggio is, I mean, that's perfectly put too, right? I mean, he can play the outfield, he can play the corners. I mean, he's got more options position wise than Allen, but yeah, I like it. That was a pretty good exercise, man. I mean, I think, you guys both had blue ball and I didn't. They both had Whitcomb and I didn't. And then of course, Browse had Weiss and Bish. So we'll find out soon. We'll find out soon what that opening day roster is going to look like and see, see how it goes. But got a few more minutes here. Let's, is there anything else y'all want to do on the rosters, or we can go to these win total predictions?
No, we can go ahead and move on.
Let's go to win totals. So the over-under for the Astros is 86.5. Last year they had 87 wins. Right, missed the game we all know, missed the playoffs by one game. You had Jordan missing, I think he played on 46 games. You had Hader missing the last month and a half of the season. Every pitcher that we had, starting pitcher-wise, it seemed like, besides Hunter Brown, was hurt or had an elbow, right? The Sugarland Space Cowboys saved your season from a pitching rotation standpoint. And with all that said, you still missed the playoffs by one game. So 86.5 is the over-under for the Astros. I'm going to go ahead and start, and then we can go Bryles, and then Chris, you bring us home. So I'm taking the over. I'm going to go 90 and 72. And why I'm going 90 and 72 is I'm basing this purely on health, right? Jordan missed 3/4 of the season. if you want to tell me that guy, if he plays 140 games or 150 games, you can't tell me that he's not going to be worth the four extra wins to get over the 86.5.
Yes,
you know what I'm
sir.
saying? So I'm going 90 and 72. I'm really not being a homer. Like, I'm really not, but I really think that, as long as the team stays healthy this season, the Astros can put themselves back into that AL West crown, right? Their pitching matches up with Seattle's, your top three, and Brown. If Burrows continues on the progression that he's at from that he did during spring, if Imai continues to do how he's doing, Javier, right? If Javier can return to, half of the Javier from 26, 3 seasons ago, right? You've got a pretty formidable top four to go against their top three. And so look, for real, it's not a homer pick, but it's over 86.5, 90 and 72.
I really like that. And, you kind of nailed it when you didn't kind of nail it. You totally nailed it when it comes to health. I think that we're due to have a healthy season. We turned over our entire medical staff, and that's just part of it. But, guys, listen, I look at all these over-unders as far as total wins are concerned for every single team. Vegas is very consistent on what they're going to do, but sometimes they don't get it right. I have us going 92 and 70. I think with the pitching rotation, PK, just like you were saying, we've got a solid rotation. We have got a solid infield. The only question marks in my mind that we have are a little bit of the outfield. We've got some kids out there that, aren't necessarily proven, but we know as Astros fans that are going to be good. And we've got Lo Profito out there who's, hopefully going to be making the team, playing left field like we've all talked about. I really see this team overcoming a lot of it. If you look at all the stats and everything, and everybody, what's the chatter online, they're saying the Rangers are going to be like number 2, Mariners are going to be number 1, and the Astros are going to be number 3. I think that is completely wrong. I think that we are going to win this division. We're going to take it with 92 games. I see Seattle being right behind us, and I see the Angels fighting for third with the Athletics just in wins. And for the rest of the entire, like Major League Baseball, I look at all the teams this way. It's like, what is Vegas saying? What is, this team going to do because of their pickups, how their spring went, all that other kind of stuff. And I'm telling you right now, I have studied this to death, and I'm telling you, the Astros will absolutely cover the over.
Man, this is why I hate going last, because y'all pretty much took everything that I was basically going to say. So when I first started thinking about it, the first number that popped in my head was 90 wins. But I could easily see them winning 92. The way I see this, and again, number one is I don't think, knock on wood, that this team is going to have 73 injuries like they had last season. So, and you look at the way that PK just so eloquently set up this segment with the fact that they still only missed the playoffs by 1 game, with having half their roster being the Sugarland Space Cowboys, kind of blows my mind. And we've talked about it all off season about how just one game. So, I mean, then you add the fact that Dana Brown went out there and just made this pitching staff and the bullpen so freaking deep that I agree. I think this is a rotation that is not just can hang with Seattle. I think this is a rotation that is better than Seattle's from what I've seen. Like, I've been praising, I've been riding the horse of Burrows is going to be the best pickup of any trade acquisition, free agent acquisition of this offseason. I really think, and so far he's shown it so far in spring training, but I really do think that this rotation is going to be better than Seattle's. I have us winning this division, and I think that they may not go all the way, but I think that Dana Brown has put the pieces. And again, yes, we still have some young kids like Browson in the outfield that still have to play to their potential. We've got a brand new hitting regime in because we saw all the issues we had with runners in scoring position and just flailing at pitches because everyone felt like they had to try to be Superman because of all the injuries. I think this is a team that could go deep in the playoffs, just on pitching alone, because we all know pitching wins. Good pitching beats good hitting 10 times out of 10. So I have them I have them at 90 and 72, but I have them in the 90 to 95 range. I know that's kind of a cop out. That gives me a 5-game swing, but I have them winning the division. I have them, like I said, going pretty deep into the playoffs just off the rotation alone. And I have no doubt in my mind that if this team is in contention, Dana Brown's going to get it done at the trade deadline. So I'm probably more excited for this season than I was last season as far as the hopes and aspirations. And I also have them winning the season series against the Mariners. So suck it, Mariners fans. I'm out.
That's what I'm talking about. That's how we finish the damn episode. Well, look, man, it is George Springer days away from opening day. It cannot come any faster. I'm ready for Thursday, ready to get this season going. Like we talked about all off season, every night, after every Astros game, one of us will be going live for a recap of the game, 10, 15 minutes. So we'll be dropping a lot more content this season. We'll still be doing our Sundays and Thursdays like we always do. But like I said, after every game, one of us will be coming on and doing a recap. So please make sure you tune in for all those. Thank you for everyone that continues to listen and support us and interact with us on the social platforms. We thank y'all so much. We can't wait for Thursday. It's going to be awesome, man. But this is the Crawford Chronicles. I'm PK. Homer Chris. Sweet Bee Bones Bryles. We're going to holler at y'all in 4 days for opening day.
I think I'm starting to feel sick. I might have to call in from work.
Yeah,
for Thursday.
Yeah, look, if we start coughing tomorrow at the office, we can set it up pretty good.
I like it.
Let's do it.